Talk about a tease. Over the past few weeks, Lamborghini has dropped morsels of information about its long-awaited Aventador supercar replacement model. We've learned the 2024 Lamborghini Revuelto, more on the name shortly, is the Italian automaker's first-ever plug-in hybrid. Its 6.5-liter naturally aspirated V12 engine produces 820 horsepower and 535 lb-ft of torque, augmented by two 148 HP/258 lb-ft motors driving the front wheels and a 148 HP/110 lb-ft motor integrated into the all-new 8-speed dual-clutch transmission mounted transversely behind the rear axle. Peak system output is 1,001 horsepower and 793 lb-ft. We've also learned the 2024 Lamborghini Revuelto has an all-new monocoque chassis that's 10% lighter and 25% stiffer than the Aventador's, with a 3.8 kWh lithium-ion battery pack located in the tunnel running down the center of the structure. And we've learned the car's electronic brain combines the hybrid system's recharge, hybrid, and performance modes with the Città, City, Strada, Street, Sport, and Corsa, Race, powertrain, and chassis settings to deliver no fewer than 13 drive configurations. What is the Aventador replacement? The teasing is now over. Behold the Lamborghini Revuelto, which delivers more power, performance, and bleeding-edge technology than the Aventador, wrapped in carbon fiber panels that ooze otherworldly menace and unbridled aggression. For a long time, we wondered, as did the engineers at Sant'Agata Bolognese, whether 21st century emissions and fuel economy mandates would mean the end of the road for a car like this. The new Revuelto emphatically answers that question, as the big banger Lambo lives. And it's ready to rage. Like many Lamborghinis, the Revuelto is named after a fighting bull, in this case one that made its reputation in the bullring in Barcelona in August 1880. Lamborghini sources say the bull was described as rebellious and having an indomitable heart, earning the name that in English means unruly. Revuelto is also Spanish for mixed up, a nod to its powertrain that combines an internal combustion engine format that dates to Lamborghini's beginning 60 years ago with a 21st century trio of light and powerful motors. What powers the new Lamborghini? Indeed, the Revuelto's new hybrid powertrain helps the supercar reduce its emissions by 30% compared to the outgoing Aventador Ultime, and it allows the car to run solely on its electric motors for up to 6.2 miles. To maximize driving range, most of the pure electric driving is done via the front wheels, with the motor and the transmission pitching in to help when needed. But the hybrid system is also designed to help deliver maximum performance. The powertrain's heart is the lightest and most powerful V12 engine Lamborghini has ever built. Displacing 6.5 liters and code-named L545, it weighs just 480 pounds, about 37 pounds less than the Aventador's V12, and it makes 814 horsepower at a bellowing 9,250 RPM, with peak torque of 535 lb-ft arriving at 6,750 RPM. Among the many detail improvements over the old V12 is an intake system designed to get more air into combustion chambers that have a much higher compression ratio, 12.6 to 1 compared to 11.8 to 1 for the Aventador Ultime's V12. The spent gases exit via a more free-flowing exhaust system. Getting shifty. The battery pack's location required rotating the engine 180 degrees compared with the Aventador's layout, as well as designing a compact 8-speed dual-clutch transmission that sits transversely across the car's rear. The new transmission, which replaces the brutish 7-speed single-clutch unit used in the Aventador, is just 22.0 inches long, 29.5 inches wide, and 22.8 inches high. It weighs 425 pounds, including the motor mounted above the gear set. It's an impressive piece of work and a key element of the Revuelto's hybrid powertrain concept. Created entirely in-house at Lamborghini, the transmission has two gear shafts, one for the even-numbered gears and the other for the odd numbers, which helps to keep down the overall weight while also saving space. There is no reverse gear. The two motors at the front wheels handle that duty, with the third motor assisting when needed. The latter motor also provides on-demand torque fill during performance driving and operates as a starter motor. It can function as a generator that allows the V12 to recharge the battery as well. Depending on what it's being asked to do, the motor will decouple from the transmission. Mad performance. The front motors help the 2024 Lamborghini Revuelto supercar accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in less than 2.5 seconds and to 124 miles per hour in less than 7.0 seconds on the way to a claimed top speed of more than 217 miles per hour. They also help the big Lambo tango through the twisty bits thanks to electric front axle torque vectoring overseen by the new Lamborghini Dinamica Veicolo 2.0 vehicle dynamic control system. Working in conjunction with the Revuelto's rear-wheel steering system, LDV 2.0 independently controls the torque flow to each front wheel to make the car feel more agile at low speeds and more stable at high speeds. Because the motors allow such precise torque control, the system uses the front brakes only when necessary. Speaking of which, although all three of the Revuelto's motors contribute to the car's braking performance by way of regeneration, the big Lamborghini's mechanical brake package is state-of-the-art Hypercar art. The rotors are carbon ceramic, 16.1 inches in diameter up front and 15.4 at the rear, each 0.4 inch bigger than the units used on the Aventador Ultime. The front rotors are clamped by 10-piston calipers rather than the 6-piston units used previously, with 4-piston items at the rear. All are covered by a friction layer for better performance and thermal management and lower noise levels. The new carbon fiber platform architecture features forged composite materials as structural elements up front, while the engine and transmission are cradled by high-strength aluminum alloys. The Revuelto has a 3.1-inch longer wheelbase than the Aventador, though it's only a tenth of an inch longer overall, and a more balanced weight distribution, 44% front and 56% rear. The anti-roll bars are 11% stiffer at the front and 50% stiffer at the rear, and the steering ratio is 10% quicker, all changes designed to make the most of the front axle's torque vectoring capability and the rear-wheel steering system. The new bespoke Bridgestone Potenza Sport tires have a 4% larger footprint than the tires used on the Aventador Ultime. Sharp edges. The Aventador, like any of today's Lamborghinis, is a hard act to follow in terms of visual impact, but design chief Mitja Borkert and his team knocked it out of the park with the new Revuelto. It looks longer, lower, and edgier, not least because of a rear-end graphic that cleverly uses the massive black painted diffuser to visually emphasize dramatically tapered bodywork. The zigzag side vent from some angles makes the rear fenders seem, as with Chris Svensson's stunning Ford GT, almost detached from the car, secured only by the broad shelves running under the door and the flying buttresses extending from their upper surfaces to the top of the greenhouse. There's visual drama everywhere, from the giant, high-mounted exhaust outlets between the taillights to the scowling front end, the surfaces pulled tight over bone and muscle. But there's function in the form, too. The front splitter and the roof design that channels airflow to the high-efficiency rear wing, combined with active aerodynamics, have improved aerodynamic efficiency by 61% and downforce by 66% in high-load situations compared to the Aventador Ultime, according to Lamborghini. The active aero system works with the semi-active multi-link suspension and Lamborghini's vertical control system, which manages vertical inputs such as sudden load transfers during track driving. The rear wing moves in real time to ensure good stability and downforce. Inside, look past the riot of geometric forms wrapped in sumptuous suede and leather, and you'll see a roomier interior than the Aventador offered. The Revuelto has 3 screens, a digital instrument panel in front of the driver, a UX screen housed in a structure that lunges down from the top of the dash, and a small screen on the passenger side of the cabin. As is now standard Lamborghini practice, the start button sits under a red cover the driver must flip up before it can be thumbed, like a fighter jet's weapons system. We'll wait until we have an opportunity to get behind the wheel to experience the full palette of the 2024 Lamborghini Revuelto's performance, but based on what the company's engineers say, it promises to be one of the most interesting cars yet from Sant'Agata Bolognese in terms of the way it drives. Multiple personalities. City mode, for example, allows the Revuelto to waft around town on pure electric power, and although 6.2 miles might not sound like much in terms of driving range, there are cities where it can take you an hour to travel that far in heavy traffic. The suspension system, traction control, and transmission are set to deliver maximum comfort, and the maximum output of the motors is limited to 180 horsepower. If the lithium-ion battery needs to be recharged and there are no charging stations available, selecting recharge mode will see the V12 fire up to recharge it in 6 minutes. Sure, it's not as green as a Toyota Prius, but the short burst recharge function probably releases a lot fewer burnt hydrocarbons into the atmosphere than if the big V12 is left to idle through town. Strada mode is for everyday driving and long trips, with the hybrid powertrain producing 874 horsepower. In Strada, the V12 is kept running, ensuring a constant state of battery recharging that can be boosted further in recharge mode. The front motors do their torque vectoring tricks through the turns, and the active aerodynamics work to provide maximum stability at high speeds. Selecting Sport mode ups the system output to 895 horsepower, boosts the sound of the big V12, and dials up the chassis responsiveness. But for the full-fat Revuelto experience, Lambo engineers say, you need to select the Corsa Drive mode and put the hybrid powertrain in the performance setting. That gives you 1001 horsepower to play with, and the control of the hybrid system is calibrated to get the most out of the front axle in terms of both torque vectoring and all-wheel drive. ESC can be disabled and launch control activated. The 2024 Lamborghini Revuelto promises to be everything a big banger Lamborghini ought to be: loud, fast, and viscerally exciting, a car ready to rip the head off a Porsche 911 at the slightest provocation. But it's a big banger Lamborghini whose hybrid powertrain endows it with a versatility company founder Ferruccio Lamborghini would never have dreamed possible.